as is right.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Unusual Suspects. We're on episode 114.
We're still here.
Guys, we're still here because of you guys, and I love you guys. We have a fantastic show. We're going to be moving, guys. We're going to be cooking because we want this thing to move today. Everybody's here. Humberto's here.
We're so back.
Rob is here. David's here. Natalia is on the ones and twos. Can we show? Does Natalia have a camera? Look at that smile. Holy moly. Jake is back there. Who's back there? Who's in the back? Andres and who else? Julius, everybody's in the house.
That is the definition of an infectious smile. If I see that smile, it makes me happy.
If I was told, like, hey, listen, you're gonna die, like you're dying, I want that face and that smile. Like, watch this. Show Natalia. Now, tell me I'm dying. Tell me, Dad, do that, but say that I'm dying.
Gonna die.
Yes! Yes! That's such a hot way to go. Anyway, and guys, before we get into it, I want to give Brandon a shout out. Brandon Aceto, his channel just hit 100,000 subscribers. I got a freaking... Let's go, Brandon!
Thank you.
If you haven't subscribed to it, we're going to put it down in the description. Brandon's a freaking G. He taught every day he's on there. We did a podcast. Humberto was on there on a podcast. It was
8 o'clock every night.
8 o'clock every night. Brandon Aceto, A-C-E-T-O.
Thank you, Vinnie.
And no, I love you, bro. You're doing it. You're gonna be the president, so I gotta, butter up to you.
Yeah, we need pardons.
I want to
And
be.
you give
I need pardons.
pre-pardons. They're now a thing,
Yeah,
so
I
we
got a
need
pardon.
I want to be your Kissinger and bum shit.
Yeah,
You know,
you
I
would.
want an official.
You have, because everybody that does evil shit has to have an accent. You're the guy.
Yeah,
It's you.
evil guy. and bum
Not
shit.
for
Yeah,
nothing.
it's true.
Biden has not yet issued a so-called preemptive pardon because I've got money if he does.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah,
Oh,
well, the Kalshi had it at 40% odds that he would issue a preemptive pardon. I was like, that
will.
seems...
He will.
It's at least 50-50, so you make 10%. Preemptive pardons, and who does he pardon? Because I've also put a little bet on Liz Cheney.
Yeah, she will. She got the medal of bro. I said this on the Piers Morgan podcast, and Humberto helped me this. Giving the Medal of Freedom to George Soros and Hillary Clinton is like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a Michelin star for outstanding diversity in cuisine. And I said it. It's like, what do we... Anyway, we're going to get into it. But guys, we have a lot of stories today. Viva's going to be talking about his best friend, Justin Trudeau. Brandon's going to be talking about
Top G.
Andrew Tate, top G, want to be the Prime Minister of UK. That's really interesting. Humberto...
What do you think? We have a lot of stories. We always have the same amount of
Same
stories.
amount, I'm saying, but it's a lot. It's still a lot.
Exactly
Five stories is a lot.
Exactly.
Five is a lot of stories in the amount of time we're going to do
Let's
it.
get the record straight, all right?
Yeah, my bad. And speaking of Humberto, the Gulf of America, Donald Trump is making some waves. And the Rob G, New York, besides all the other freaking problems that they have, they're going to be charging people for congestion tolls. That's great.
And maybe our first 15-minute city here in the United States.
Oh, weird. It has begun. But all right, let's just, we'll get into the first story. Guys, do you guys know who Sunny Hostin is?
Oh,
She's that real good, wholesome woman on that amazing show, The View, one of my favorite shows. Well, her husband has been accused of federal insurance fraud in the largest RICO case ever filed in the New York State.
With glasses like that, can we bring that picture back up?
Yeah,
with
show that.
glasses like that, how can you not trust that person?
Oh, no, I don't trust
Those
that at
are
all.
glorious.
Yeah, and guys, I don't know if you heard me. The largest RICO case ever filed in New York City, that dwarfs the mafia RICO case. Think about that. The mafia, this is bigger, meaning they've accused all these people of fraud. I'm pretty sure there's some mafioso guys like, hey, what are you talking about? Freaking fraud? They're the ones that are in charge. So Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon, is accused of scamming insurance companies that serve hardworking folks like taxi drivers, Uber drivers, Lyft drivers by performing unnecessary surgeries and providing fraudulent medical services in exchange for kickbacks. Oh, that's so weird. The lawsuit alleges that these kickbacks were disguised as dividends or cash distributions, funneling dirty money into the pockets of those involved. And the company, on the losing end, American Transit Insurance, which claims to have been ripped off for millions. And guys, and you guys know how I feel about The View. That entire, like, if aliens came and abducted all of them, I wouldn't lose. It'd be like this. Like, tell me, Humberto, tell me, Vinny, the View has just been kidnapped by aliens.
Vinny, the View just been kidnapped.
Okay, what do you guys want to eat for lunch? Like, that's where I'm at. I don't care. These people are one of the main reasons that there's division, that there's hate, and that there's bitterness in this country. I'm shocked that they still have them on the show. Like, I know all these other networks are losing contracts. You know, what's her name? Rachel Maddow,
Yeah.
$5 million pay cut, all these
Half
people.
cut.
It disgusts me. And I just wish one day they could turn the camera on to see the audience of The View.
And-
Because you know who it is.
Not worth nothing, but Sunny Hostin.
Hostin.
Just recently had to read that disclaimer because she potentially
Several.
defamed
Oh, yeah.
Matt Gaetz. But the idea of giving unnecessary surgery, that's a very, very violating of the human dignity type thing. Orthopedic has anything to do with the bones. I had to just double check.
Yeah.
To get to recommend or provide unnecessary surgery, you put people's lives at risk.
Yep.
Cause all sorts of long-term problems.
Yep.
So you can make a little bit of money. I mean, even if you made all the money in the world, what is all of the treasure
Yeah.
of the world for he who has forsaken his soul?
Exactly. And she, mind you, she's a lawyer. She has money. She's successful.
And a
What do you-
slave owner.
Yeah, and by the way, you guys are saying all the stuff that I'm gonna get into. Which is fine.
Sorry,
no, which
Vinnie.
is fine. No, it's fine.
Let him cook.
Here's a clip of her on The View that kind of, you guys tell me, you're a lawyer, David. Does this kind of implicate her husband in the type of scheme that he's accused and alleged of being involved in? Natalia, play the clip.
Out
Andrew,
statements
wait, hold
specifically
on.
on
Let
this.
Sunny get in here.
Please do.
I mean, I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system.
Talking
And,
about the shooting. Luigi
doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good,
Ready?
like my husband,
oh.
operates on someone even though they don't have insurance,
Whoa,
and then has to sue health insurance companies
Whoa.
to get paid
Shut
for
the
the work that
front
he's been
door.
trained his whole life to do. So there are a
What?
lot of problems with it. But the notion that we are in a violent country, this country was built on violence.
What?
We're a very violent country, and it's just
real. I didn't
undeniable
make
that
it
that's
up.
the case.
No,
And
it
so
could- it
I'm
could be
not,
like AI mental-
unfortunately,
All right, stop
surprised.
it. Now, guys, just to be clear, Sunny Hostin herself has not been implicated in the lawsuit, but you're married. If you're doing something like that, does your wife know that you're up to no good?
No, the way she explained it is exactly how a criminal would explain it to his spouse. Oh, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm actually a
Helping the
good
people.
person.
Oh.
I'm such a selfless doctor. I'll do the work even if they don't have insurance, and then sue the insurance
Sue the
company.
insurance company.
But the fact also I thought the initial joke was methinks the lady doth protest too much. Like, oh, my husband's an angel.
Yeah.
But then she goes on to basically describe the RICO
She's
conspiracy.
describing it. Dude, now,
Holy
and like I said, she's not in it, but let's not ignore the optics. This is the woman, okay? Like, I don't like the person she is inside, bro. I don't wish her any ill will, but this is her career, lecturing Americans about morality, inequality, and systemic issues while she's sitting there in a household with her husband caught up in this massive corruption, okay? Now, let's not forget her track record, all right, with her ignorant ass comments. She was forced to read, like you said, David, a legal disclaimer multiple times. Didn't she do two of them? One was
in recent
three.
memory.
Blasting Attorney General Matt Gaetz, the nominee, accusation that he has sex with a 17-year-old girl. And then after Trump's win, she suggested that uneducated white women were responsible for his victory. The backlash, she deletes her ex account. And just a few days ago, she compared January 6th to the Holocaust, World War III, and slavery. And speaking of slavery, I know some of you guys haven't at home, but she appeared on a PBS show called Finding Your Roots, where it was revealed that she is only 7% indigenous Puerto Rican and that her ancestors
Were
likely
slave owners.
owned slaves. And they discovered her third grandfather, Furman, weird name, was the son of a merchant likely involved in the slave trade, and Furman himself owned at least one human being. Can you play her? Not this one, not the other one. That one right there. I love
Love
these
this
are moments
video.
that look at her little snaky eye looking at the camera. Play it.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself
Touch
as
that
Puerto
neck, a
Rican.
little
Oh, yeah.
uncomfortableness right there.
Oh,
I didn't think I was.
slave owner.
My family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Weird.
Feeling, my friend.
I just.
Her
I
mom
think
was
it's
furious,
actually
by the way.
pretty interesting.
I think I no
that,
longer support reparations.
My
is
husband
what
and I
she's
have
thinking.
shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And
yeah,
I think
so
it's
do
great
I.
for our children
Yeah.
to know this information.
Oh, no. I
guess it's a fact of life.
Weird.
That this is how some people made their living.
Oh, is that? Oh, weird. Well, hypocrite. And now go to the video before. This is her talking about Trump and fraud. Just listen to the word fraud come out of her mouth. Go ahead.
Goodness.
In the criminal case, now the prosecutors are like, oh, really? Well, how about we add some additional fraud charges onto you? And they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud, which I would say you could get about 20 years in prison. So that's a death sentence
They're
for him.
talking about threatening him with additional charges. I mean, that is literally what one would refer to as extortion or coercion or weaponized. Oh, you don't threaten someone with charges. If they exist, you bring them. All this to say, by the way, I'm a lawyer, or a former lawyer, I should say. He's innocent until proven guilty. And as much as I loathe these people and want to believe that it's true, he still deserves the presumption of innocence. But she has confirmed the confirmation of skankness. She's an awful, awful human, and she's getting what she deserves because when you put out negativity into the world, which I'm doing right now, but not all the time, that cloud catches up.
we have to put them out on
Not all the
blast.
time.
No, and it's always, she's one of the biggest hypocrites. Hey, Sunny, the odds of her watching this are probably slim, but you are one of the biggest hypocrites. You are a shill for the left. It's despicable what you become, and I just love that all this is on track. It's all filed in the file cabinet of all the dumb shit that you said. Here's one of her tweets. My great-grandmother was a slave and then a sharecropper. My ancestors are slaves. I have no affiliation to the enslaved. My family who built this country for free, which you are still benefit from, isn't own reparations, ignorant and disrespectful, expect. And then look what she says. This is a news thing. After repeated claims of reparations, Sunny Hostin says she's deeply disappointed after discovered her ancestors were slaveholders in Spain. And then that's her deleting her ex.
Yeah, well,
anyway,
now they can't community note it. By the way, I would just also like to add one thing. When she says, January 6th was like the Holocaust or like whatever, if she's talking about the unlawful internment of American citizens like the January 6th defendants, I might be inclined to agree with her.
Yes.
It might be like World War II when America rationalized justifying locking up Japanese Americans on the basis they were a domestic threat.
Yeah.
What they've done to the Jan 6ers as well. So, Sonny, if that's what you meant, if you're watching, you're an idiot, but I agree with you on that.
Yeah, hypocrite. And it's always the ones that are always the pointing, always the ones that are doing this, and it's always the ones that are the problem. Humberto, go ahead.
The View is the greatest show.
Thank you.
No, I'm being serious. The greatest psyop show ever produced. It targets a low information,
Women, housewives.
You said it, I didn't.
Yeah, they are.
Low information, highly emotional target audience that have a high influence. Those people that are low information, they make most of the purchases in the house.
The naggy wife.
Wow, good
All right.
point.
So I think this show is too valuable to be muddled with whatever's happening with her. And I can put money that she's going to be out very soon because they can't afford to not talk about it. And they can't afford to lose the show.
Well, I guess what? Good riddance to bad rubbish. Okay, moving on to the next story.
Speaking of bad
Viva,
rubbish.
Speaking of rubbish, Justin Trudeau, your best friend, he's on the way out. What's going on?
He's still on the way out. The only question is how fast. The news of the week was Justin Trudeau resigned as prime minister, and it's a new era. People were rejoicing. And, then as it sinks in and you sort of listen to it, you say, okay, well, he's announced his intention to resign. Has he actually resigned? Will it make a difference if he does resign? Is he just buying more time for the Liberals to try to not necessarily save face, but delay the elections in as much as possible? If we can play his original statement where you listen to it and that sniveling snot of a prime minister is a stain on. I'm looking at his face right now. I want to vomit. I should call him Pig Vomit because he looks like a pig and he makes me want to vomit. That's from Howard Stern.
Howard Stern, good.
But listen to his statement, and then you'll say, is it a definitive resignation? Because there's a bit of a twist. For me, it's good enough, but play it and look at this sniveling snot.
Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future.
He's trying to squeeze out tears
Throughout
here.
the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement.
Beta.
So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you
Look at him.
today.
He's trying to cry. 2 kids.
I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
I intend to resign. After elections, robust national elections, and they name. So it's a very conditional sort of resignation. And, I was arguing at one point, look, it's as good as it's going to get. You don't just really up and leave, although there is a mechanism. I have since been informed that he could resign and fade off into the woods, and then the Liberal caucus could appoint an interim leader. Then they would hold their convention to see who gets to be the elected leader. But the bottom line, he's out, and it's like good riddance to bad rubbish. He's prorogued Parliament, so they've ended the session until March 24th. So for the next 3 months, nothing happens, except they're going to have their national leadership race to see who replaces Justin Trudeau. Then they're going to come back and, in theory, then call an election once they have a replacement for Trudeau, because they don't want to run now with Trudeau as the leader.
Nothing happens for nothing.
Nothing like session.
Healthcare.
No, it continues to run. I actually wanted to clarify, like, what the system runs, but all pending bills, committees,
So bills that
investigations.
have nothing to do with this.
Well, no, any pending bill is now dead, and
Oh,
when the new session
wow.
reconvenes, they can pick up from where they
So
want.
how about the people that depend on the bills?
Well, no, it happens all the time, and sometimes they prorogue Parliament specifically if they can't get certain bills passed, and it looks too ugly. They want to end the session, start a new session, and like re-strategize.
Go.
So the bottom line, he's announced his intention to resign after they have a replacement that they get after a national robust convention. I just want to play the meme because it's a meme, people. It's not real.
It's a meme. But what was the original? Yo, Jake, does anybody know? Yeah, but I'm saying, what was the original? Like, this is.
I think it's just a soccer game.
It's a soccer game. Okay. But I love that they keep doing this. This is one of my. Yeah, play this.
This
please.
one's well done.
Yeah.
That I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader.
And look, the detail on the phones in the background on the upper level. You see, like they really went with it.
Oh wow!
It's a
Brilliant.
meme, people, so don't share this.
Yeah, that's a
as
brilliant.
though it's real. So people were saying, okay, well, he hasn't really resigned because he's still technically the leader of the party until they have a replacement. He's just buying time. All of this is true. And my answer is that you can't really have much more of a definitive resignation other than literally leaving now, forcing the caucus to appoint an interim leader, and then having your leadership contest, which is comes to the same. But people were saying, Viva, this is a trick, because his dad did the same thing. Pull this up. You can all ask Grok yourself. Again, you don't know everything. You can't know everything. But you then learn the questions to ask, or at least get information from your aggregate network of subscribers and knowledge. Trudeau's father did, in fact, announce that he was going to resign as the leader of the Liberal Party back in '79, following the leader's loss to Joe Clark's progressive conservative government. Trudeau says, I'm going to leave as the leader of the party. Never does, because the Clark government falls, the minority government.
Yeah.
And then he runs for the Liberals and wins, I think it was a majority government at the time. So it's an interesting theory. People say, like, there's a little bit of rhyming to history. There are massive material differences in that Trudeau now is the minority government. He's detested by everybody. They need him out because it's the only way they can minimize their losses in the next election, which is going to occur, give or take, by September, October. The reason why they had to delay this, and it's all part of a scheme among these scoundrels, is that Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the NDP,
That's the opposition.
That's technically opposition, but they've been propping up the Liberal government for the last 2 years with the supply and confidence agreement. He needed to secure his federal pension. And his federal pension matured in, give or take, February 2025. So he's been propping up the Liberal government for the last 2 years. Now he says, okay, we're ending our supply and confidence agreement, but we're not triggering a new election, because if the election occurs before his federal pension matures, he doesn't get his federal pension because he's getting booted out of office next as well.
Oh, what a scumbag.
Absolute scumbag. The bottom line, though, ding dong, the witch is dead. Trudeau has announced his intention to resign. It's basically he's a lame duck, feckless leader of a party until they replace him. But the replacement, it might be worse, if not no better, because the two people looking to take the lead are Mark Carney, who is a WEF stooge. You can go Google his name in WEF.
Great.
Oh, he's the BIS guy, right?
Yeah,
Bank
big banking. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow,
and Chrystia Freeland, who prioritizes Ukraine over Canada. Who's on the board of trustees of the WEF. Google it, people. The former minister of finance who resigned, which sort of led to this whole thing, is on the board of trustees of the WEF. She's looking. I said when she resigned that she was doing it to save her own ass because she's going to run for the leadership. So those two might be the replacements. So it's a machine. It's not an individual, which is what I'm coming to grips with.
Was Canada this much of a disaster before Trudeau, or was it become much more of a
I
disaster.
couldn't answer the question because I wasn't politically aware. I mean, shame on me, voted for Trudeau in 2015.
You son of a.
I did it. I was in westbound
problem.
NDG, but
You're part of the problem.
well, no, but the problem was then. Yeah, okay, I know nothing. I don't even know what I don't know. You vote liberal because you think it makes you liberal. You vote Democrat because you think it makes you a Democrat. Now you know liberals are the fascists.
Yeah, and here's my question because I know we have to go on to Brandon's. How the voting process, is it secure? Is it? Do they question them like how shitty ours is with mail-in ballots and
No,
the people that are running?
ours, at least last federal election, because they're starting to use Dominion machines at the provincial level.
Great.
Federal was 2 pieces of ID, pencil and paper, good verification. You have to show ID. They cross your name off. And I mean, I don't question that because the fraud or the election fortification in Canada doesn't come from the ballot. It comes from state-controlled media that cuts out the opposition from any airtime. When I ran in 2021, I had to beg for interviews with the CBC, the state broadcaster. Then I had to beg them to air the interview because it wasn't as embarrassing as they thought it was going to be. They didn't want to air it after they did it live. I was like, put that on the internet so I can share it. Took me 4 days. They put it up on the internet the Sunday before the election on the Tuesday.
And this is state-run media.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funded to the tune of $1 billion
Last
a year.
question. When is the next chance you guys have to have an actual change of,
By law, it's going to occur 4 years from the last election if it doesn't get triggered earlier. So September, October 2025 is the next election by law because it's every 4 years legislatively. You could have a non-confidence motion passed, which says we no longer trust the government, trigger an election now. That could have been done 2 years ago, except scumbag McGee Jagmeet Singh said no. And when it comes, Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party, I believe, will take a massive majority. I hope that PPC, People's Party of Canada, the party for which I ran.
Canadian democracy is like,
go.
it's like playing Warhammer 40K.
Yeah,
It's so
it's
many
a-
rolls. It gets triggered if you do this. You roll a dice.
It's a parliamentary system for
What
good
is
and for
this?
bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, guess what? I'm happy that he's gone because no way that I've ever talked to from Canada likes that guy, and they're all happy. All right, Brandon, Prime Minister of UK. Is this serious?
Yeah,
Is this-
so speaking of prime ministers and disasters, Canada, or excuse me, UK, almost as much of a disaster as Canada, possibly more. So we've seen the knife stuff, the sexual assaults, the migrant, all that. So Andrew Tate, 2 days ago, started the Bruv Party and literally create a whole, like, he has a website and everything now. It's a legit thing. He's going, like, full in on it, saying he's going to run for prime minister to... Like,
Where is he right now, Brendan? Let's cut you off. Where is he living right now?
I believe he's living in Romania, but he's able to run for UK prime minister because he has a UK passport.
Can he and then what's the process? Just really fast. What's the deal with him and his court cases and everything in Romania still?
Oh, the court cases look good. Like those are dropping like flies.
Okay, perfect. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead. Continue. I'm sorry.
So let me play this real quick because this is an ominous prediction that was made by a high-ranking person from the UAE that was made 7 years ago, and he warned about exactly what's happening right now.
So this guy warned about what's happening in the world?
In Europe.
In Europe, okay.
And let me say this in English so you can understand what I'm saying.
I have translation.
No, I know you have translation, but
it's in
I just
Hebrew
want to
on
make
top of
sure
it.
you get it right. There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
So but that's
That did game.
That's letting
It's
you know.
today.
That's yeah.
So no, he called it perfectly, and I mean, we know this is a lot of spillover from Syria, like the Syria refugees going there and then like causing madness. But
I
the
think
guy,
them back.
this
Now
UK,
that the whole Syria thing
hell
is
no.
solved.
Not to
No.
undermine that guy's, fortuitous prediction. By 2017, the problem was well underway. I mean, it had
Yeah.
been it had been a decade old at least.
Oh yeah, they've
Right.
been cooking.
Were we really? I don't think we were really talking about it, though. Like in the way
Tommy
that-
Robinson was talking about it like back in
2011, I see
And
videos
look
of
at what
it.
happened to him, Brandon.
I
Don't
know.
talk about it.
But so the UK Prime Minister right now, he's like totally seems like he's on the side of these.
Keir Starmer?
Yeah, Keir Starmer.
Oh, he's he's the Justin Trudeau of the UK.
I'd say
it's the
even
same shit.
worse and
Worse.
scarier.
But I'm
So-
saying, big time.
So like his former career, he was a civil rights attorney who his cases were mostly of people who committed sexual assault, sometimes against kids, murderers, like the worst people you could imagine.
Terrorist.
Like he was a public defender of these type of people. So now then you have laws of you arrest people who complain on social media about not being safe, but then you let people go who stab little kids and then, sexually assault them and everything. So,
Brandon, what
madness.
Explain to okay, because I feel like I'm crazy, like I'm missing something. What would make them get you in trouble for saying stuff negative on social media, but then you're being lenient to rapists and like people that are stabbing people just because they're of the Muslim faith? What is that about?
I think just destroying national identity. Like, I mean, the only logical thing I could think of is Pat's on the podcast yesterday, like the guy who is like warning about the scary things. He said it's about globalists versus nationalists, and like globalists, they want to destroy national identity so it's unrecognizable, so your country has no national identity left, and it's like just a clean same thing across the world. So I guess that's what they're trying to do. They try to start in Europe because it's easier to do that than in America.
Oh my God, dude, it's such a it boggles my mind that they do it, and they do it with that face, like the Alejandro Mayorkas face, where they just sit there and they're like, yeah, we'll just open border, because they're in essence they're doing the same shit.
Yeah,
you want to destroy us.
Yeah,
you want to destroy the country so everybody's reliant on the government. That's their goal.
Yeah, and like if you don't make them assimilate, then it becomes a different country. Like if you add enough of a new thing here, then it's a whole entirely different thing.
Of course,
you have to appreciate. Like, I just wanted to make sure of what Keir Starmer's role was. He was the director of public prosecutions when this rape gang issue had been brought to the fore via, whether or not it was via Tommy Robinson, back in the like the thick of it. So when he's penalizing people who speak out against it, raising awareness for it, and giving a slap on the wrist to the perpetrators, it's to cover his own ass, and it's to cover his own negligence and incompetence or corruption. There are people who think that the reason why they went easy on these gangs was because there were other political people who were partaking in it. But at the very least, they went easy on it.
Partaking in the gang grooming
in the activities.
Wow.
This is I won't say unsubstantiated, but it's a theory. This is like sort of the Epstein type ring where political elite might have been partaking in the
I wouldn't put it past them.
Interesting.
But the bottom line is, it was suppressed at the time because they didn't want the backlash against the Muslim community, and they didn't want to highlight their failed immigration policies. So instead of addressing it, they penalized people who brought awareness to it. And that's why Tommy Robinson became public enemy number one.
So Rob, what do you think?
Well, it's interesting. I'm not. We've talked about this on the podcast. I'm not a very religious person, but we had a podcast yesterday that'll go out next week with a guy named Wesley Huff, who debated Billy Carson.
Love him.
He is a Christian apologist, and one of the things they were talking about was the growing Muslim population in the world. And one of the points that Chase made, Wesley made, this is not his words verbatim, but this is the gist of it, is that it's not, when it comes to the growth in Muslims across the globe, it's not a conversion. It's not people converting from other faiths. You see these gigantic increases in population of Muslim people across the globe because it's an invasion. Not a conversion, but an invasion. Mm-hmm. And when I stepped back and I looked at it, I went, oh, that makes so much sense to me, because it aligns with exactly what we talk about. When you see the footage of the people going in Ireland where there were the protests, here in the United States,
York.
Dearborn, Michigan, when you look at the guy that was in Canada saying Sharia law will be the law of the land, you watch and see, it's like, oh, they're right. This is not conversions to Islam. This growth, this explosion of Islam across the globe is an invasion of Islam.
I'm glad you bring up Sharia law.
And Brandon, both of you, don't forget what you're going to say. When there's 2 billion of a certain group of people, okay, and let's say 20 guys, very low. Let's say 15%, 10% are jihadists, Islam. Like, I'm talking about hardcore Islam, like radicalized. That's hundreds of millions of fucking people that want you gone and your way of life destroyed. It's not a small number.
Converted.
Huh?
Or converted.
Or converted.
And that's the difference. When a religion has no tolerance for other religions, that can't be tolerated. Like, Christians aren't saying that like they won't tolerate Islam.
I asked the question yesterday of Wesley Huff. He said, okay, if you wanted to leave Christianity, what happens? And he goes, well, the church will probably try and follow up with you and get you to stay.
Yeah.
Pat goes, but are you ultimately in danger if you leave the church? No. Okay, what about Islam? They'll kill you. Yeah. And then I'm like, is that real? And I Googled it, and it says in Islam, if you try and leave the religion, one of the punishments is death.
Yeah, and take your crazy. They will kill you and take your... Well, anyhow, I think tolerance, and this is a big psyop, Brandon. Tolerance is not a Christian value. I will stand by this. You should not tolerate things, all right? Tolerance is not a Christian value. The Catholic Church first, before he moved on to all the other churches, like, it got infiltrated by Marxists. By the way, Keir Starmer, he was in the Communist Party from 1983 to 1986. So I don't think it's a powerful Epstein type of situation. It's an ideological choice by him of bringing the people of the world together because they're internationalists.
Well, yeah, communists and globalists are kind of synonymous.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't take out the young grooming because it seems as if this is a global problem.
But to put this in the record, like last time Europe got invaded by Muslim invaders, they literally brought their swords out and they fought them tooth and nail to push them out of Spain. You can read about the Reconquista and it took them like 700 years to push everyone out of there. There is no moral grounds of the Western world right now, and there is no cohesion amongst Europeans to push them out again. And when we go to the brass tacks of this, they're allowing people to rape. Oh, I said it. Geez, to
It's all
rape
good. It's all good.
their daughters.
Yep.
That's what they're allowing. That's what they're allowing.
Yep.
All right. So
and Humberto, what you're saying is factual. It's factual that for a big chunk of time from 2013 to whatever, or I don't know, 80s to 2013, thousands young girls were sexually assaulted, and the system covered it up for reasons that you're saying. So again, to me, underage pedophilia, raping, they covered it up. They all protect these people. And it's in your face and you're not going to do nothing about it.
How about the one you said, I think what you guys said on the show yesterday, where there was like, they found a group of Muslim guys like sexually assaulting a 9-year-old girl, and the 9-year-old girl got arrested for being drunk.
She was drunk. Yeah, I played that video. Yeah.
Yeah, because they gave her the alcohol too?
No, but because she was drunk and disorderly.
Yeah.
So when they showed up and they saw 7 Pakistani guys, they were like, oh my God, she's drunk. Jail.
That's like
and
a,
those guys got
Family
nothing.
Guy bit or something.
Yeah,
it's insane.
If that's not the devil working, and that's Satan working right now in front of all of our faces, and you can't even deny it. There's no denying it. So
on the Tate side of this could either be like a total blessing or like a total I guess Trojan horse, because on the positive side, like, he is built for this. Like, there's nobody in the world who could be a better politician than him. Like,
for sure.
I'm gonna show you what he says. Like, now that he's in political mode, not just manosphere mode, like, it's savage. The way that he's speaking politically and like what he's gonna do and whatnot.
I can't
So
wait.
he, on one side, he could totally like wipe this stuff out and save UK, but on the other side, I hope that he's not like thinking that he's gonna put in Sharia law or something, because he did convert to being Muslim.
I mean, he went from atheist to Christian
to Muslim. Yeah. So
Is it Muslim or Islam?
same thing, I think,
okay.
right?
I don't know. I'm not the
somebody might
religious person.
somebody might
Humberto
freak
will.
out.
They are the same thing.
Okay.
The person that professes Islam is called a Muslim, and the religion is called the religion of Islam.
Okay.
Oh, and what's this, Brandon?
This is Tate just talking about what he's gonna do in the state of the UK.
All right, let's see it.
And anybody who's wondering about the state of the UK, if you're not particularly British, every single thing has gotten worse.
Everything.
The crime has gotten worse. The NHS has gotten worse. The economy has gotten worse. There's nothing you can name. Public image has gotten worse. The military's gotten worse.
Education.
The education system's gotten worse. The judiciary's gotten worse. There's not a single institution inside of the UK that is not worse than it was 10 years ago. And for the last 14 years, Conservatives were in charge and did nothing. They let the little girls get raped. They did nothing. Now Labour's in charge. They are flailing and failing while sponsoring foreign wars and allowing old age pensioners to freeze to death. And Conservatives are trying to talk as if they are the answer to something. You have done nothing but fail your constituents for over a decade. The Conservatives are liars. Labour are liars. It is two sides of the same coin.
It's weird seeing him with a shirt on and not smoking that hookah. Because
Right.
every time I see him, he's shirtless, lifting weights and smoking hookah.
Well, he's like
Brandon,
civilized politician mode now. It's weird.
No, but before we move on, and we talked about this on your show yesterday,
Yeah.
look at that image,
Yeah.
right? So alcohol is banned. It's haram in this
Yeah,
Islamic
he's not a
culture.
real Muslim.
It's part of British culture. So we have cultural clashing here. That's why I'm a Tristan fan, and I think he should take over.
Tristan's a
Well,
G.
hold on, but it is an interesting thing because
It's conflicting.
Tate is a devout Muslim. I
Yeah.
think. And
Devout?
He converted.
declared.
I don't
and,
judge people how they are.
No, it's cool. I mean, I wonder if there's going to be something of a clash between Islam, the way
But you see
Tate
how
thinks
he's,
it should be
how
practiced,
he's
versus
code switching. He's sounding more British. He has a pint of beer in the back, the Big Ben. I don't know. I don't buy it.
Well,
And I don't know.
I I don't buy anything. I just on the religious side of it, on the Christianity, and again, we respect everybody's religion. You could believe in grass. My job as a Christian, this is me, is to preach the word and let people know that when I talk to people and I'm talking about, Muhammad or this or that, I'm trying to save your soul. And I'm being dead serious. I'm just giving you this information because I feel like God, Jesus Christ, has told me to tell people, like, yo, bro, this is it. Every head will bow and every knee will kneel. It's going to happen, guys. God's coming back like a thief in the night. And I don't know if you guys have read that part of the Bible. When a thief comes to your house, they don't email, they don't text, they don't do that airplane that flies by with that thing behind it, that banner. He's coming. So you got to be ready. So when we talk to people about it, Muslim, converting, whatever, I don't know, bro. The time is ticking. Time is ticking. And I'm just here. I don't judge people at all. That's not my job. That's God's job. But my God gave me a job. Jesus Christ gave me a job to preach the word and wake people up because I want as many souls to come with me to heaven.
You try to leave Judaism, by the way. You will get nagged to death by your
they'll
grandmother
nag
and
you?
your mother.
Man, I will?
So there is a death penalty. It's just by nagging rather than a flogging.
Well, actually,
flogging.
No, never mind.
Why? What? Are you holding back?
in the Orthodox communities, the penalty of leaving one of the Jewish Orthodox communities is very high, very, very high. I had friends that they left and they lose contact. It's very much like Mormons. Like if you leave Mormon,
well, there's no
take
question
9 of your wives away.
There's certain do I call them sects within Judaism, which are, I would say, more akin to cults than to religion. And if you, it's the same thing in every religion. You're going to have your extreme sects. And if you leave,
the
it's
social punishment
excommunication.
is very high.
Yeah.
So Brandon.
So next, the name of his party is BRUV, standing for Britain Restoring Underlying Values. So I don't know.
Can we see this? Can we show the audience this? There you go.
So
look at that. Brev, what's up, Brev?
He's got a whole website set up and everything. This page was launched, I think, yesterday, and it's already
91,000.
Yeah.
And did you get the joke?
What's up, Brev?
Bruv is
Bruv is
the
like
British
friend,
way of
brother.
saying bro.
Yeah, there's
it's
bro
bro.
in
I
chat.
would do
it's
it's
cool.
funny.
And so he's calling out Muslims a little bit. He's saying assimilation and integration are key to orderly immigration. When I'm prime minister, and there's a simple creed: if you fail to assimilate, you will fail to integrate. You will fail to immigrate.
Wow.
Muslims,
Well, but it's kind of too late if if the population is already within the country and has failed to integrate. I mean,
well, he's saying he's gonna, I guess, kick them out if they don't integrate. But I mean, they haven't done a single thing to try to make them assimilate or kick them out to this point. Like they've just helped them get there. So I think that a serious prime minister would be able to do something about this. And then he's calling out Muslims directly, saying Muslims in Europe are defending heinous crimes and then act confused when there's a obvious bigotry against them in the future. The grooming gangs are disgusting. Every human is against them. The Muslims are defending the Muslims defending those actions are purely because they were committed by other Muslims and destroying the image of Islam in the West. PSYOP. So he's saying,
what is that thing on the bottom? XF. What actions have Muslim communities taken against? What's that? The two letters.
Community note.
It's community, or I don't know what that is.
Oh no, that's Grok. Okay,
Grok,
that was
yeah.
a Grok question. I only say this because you saw the video that went viral in the wake of the Shia Sunni, the Shia Muslim guy that drove his car through the Christmas marketplace, and the video that talked about taqiyya, the permission to deceive in promotion of the religion. And so I know that someone's going to maybe think or accuse Tate of doing that. Like I'll say what I need to say in order to get into a position of power. But I mean, if there's not meaningful backlash against Tate, you can be suspicious of this because what he's saying is correct, and it's something like, people talk about Muslim extremism. The number one victims of Muslim extremism are other Muslims, and so the idea that the Muslim community itself doesn't condemn radically and unequivocally Muslim or Islamic terrorism, it's counterintuitive, but there might be a feer element in that.
Right.
So he's saying the right things. We'll see what the backlash is against him to see how sincere it is or how sincerely it's taken by others.
Right.
Good.
That's a good
Brandon,
point.
great story. I mean, we'll see what happens. Next story, Humberto, your boy.
My
Trump
boy, we're so back.
We're back.
We are
He's
so
changing
back.
the name. Did he change the name of Gulf of
It's
Mexico?
it's official.
We haven't been this back since I don't even know what's the last time.
Since
we were
George
this
Washington.
Back. That's the last time we were so back.
Back again.
Trump. Let's go straight to him and then I can
Go.
on. This is so good. I'm sorry.
Is that an AI? Is that AI of him?
Yeah, I made it.
Go.
It's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers
USA!
a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And
It's a beautiful name.
It's appropriate.
I think he does this stuff to
And
piss people
Mexico
off.
has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
Do you have the part where he tried to do the math or no? It was so funny because he goes, it's 600 square acres of property. That's what the Gulf of the Gulf of Mexico would be. Gulf of America would be. But he's
why are you dead naming?
Yeah, dead naming the
you're
Gulf.
Right, I'm sorry, I'm so homophobic. But it's just funny because he starts to do the math and he's like, well, 600 square nautical miles or 600,000 square nautical miles times. Well, it's a lot of water.
All right. As I wasn't educated in the American public system, I can do math, and I got my voice back.
Yeah.
Here's the math. 68% of the Gulf is America.
Yes, I
right?
can see it.
So that's 1,080 miles of coastline. You know that measuring coastline is extremely difficult.
Oh yeah.
Like you need to decide when to stop measuring coastlines. It's very crazy.
All
You
the
should look into it.
peninsulas and everything.
And
Well, I
then-
can tell you what, the map makers of the world are going to be very happy with Trump right now. They got to reprint all the maps.
They're so happy.
And that's the other thing. How come nobody came up with this? Like we make most of the maps. It's an easy fix.
It's Trump.
You know,
It's Trump, dude.
And this is not the first time this happens. As I grew up in the Middle East, right in front of the Gulf of Persia, or the Arabian Gulf. So if you get a UAE-made map, it will say the Arabic.
Yes.
The Gulf of Arabia.
Yeah.
If you get an Iranian-made map, it will say the Persian Gulf.
Oh, weird.
All right. So you can have maps for everyone. You can call things differently. Like in most languages, countries are called differently. Like you have Germany and Deutschland. So this is how it looks like right now, and I fixed it, and this is how it looks like in a few weeks.
Wow, look
much
at that.
better. So much better.
I know,
much better.
Well, but when is Trump going to announce that he's going to rename New Mexico
No, he's done.
New Mexico to New America?
Yeah.
Bada bing,
Good
bada
one.
boom.
Wow.
Come
That's
on.
a good one.
No, that's serious.
Or they call it Old Mexico. And that's
So after that, and he mentioned it on the video, like adding Canada to the United States.
Oh, look at that.
This is how the map
Look
will
at
look.
that.
Beautiful.
Ah, that looks fantastic.
Am I crazy, or does it almost look like the OK symbol? If you get that lake up there, the Hudson
white
Bay.
pride symbol.
I see it.
Wow.
Or the rabbit from Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko Rabbit. We'll go that way.
All right. So and
Look at that
our
umpire.
boy Charlie Kirk and Don Jr. And Sergio. I don't know who he is.
Who the hell's Sergio?
Yeah, his name.
It's random.
I don't know. It's Sergio. I love Sergio. Good guy. They went there to check some property that we're
Yesterday.
about to buy.
Yeah.
You guys know when was the last time we added a state?
Alaska?
Puerto Rico.
Hawaii,
that would
Yes,
be a territory.
Yes. What year?
Wait, Puerto Rico.
No, Alaska.
Alaska.
A long time ago.
65?
59.
59.
Oh,
Damn
wow.
it.
All right.
I
So
was way off.
I love maps. Maps are great. I love charts the most.
Charts are the best.
Charts are the best. Maps.
Maps.
They're the second best.
Not
all right?
minor attracted persons. Not that.
No, not
Okay.
that.
Shut
Just
up. The Louisiana Purchase was about buying that from...
how good is this map? All right.
Now I want a T-shirt.
you
that
know
has
why?
Maps.
Maps. So we bought we bought from France the Louisiana Purchase for $15 million.
Bargain.
All right, that's a bargain.
Holy crap! Of course.
We bought Alaska for $7.2 million.
Cheap.
We bought Florida from the Spanish
$5 million.
for $5 million.
That's it.
Wow.
I mean,
That's in
18,
$19 people. That's like...
That's like a
And,
bazillion,
there's
gazillion
a
dollars.
gazillion dollars. And then Mexico. And this is a funny story. When it was sold, allegedly, the Mexican general that sold it to us was drunk.
Oh,
But
great.
there's no take
Respect,
backsies, all right?
respect.
500 or 5 million in 1819 is now worth 124,209,000.
It's still a bargain.
Still a bargain.
It really
Still a
is for the
bargain.
amount of space that
Sign me
Florida
up, I
is.
think.
Sign me up. I'll get a loan
All
right now.
And talking about maps, I brought some of my favorites.
Minor attracted persons?
Yeah.
Minor
No,
persons.
Different maps. I thought these are my favorite minor attracted
Yeah,
persons.
no.
Anthony
This-
Weiner.
This is
Jeffrey Epstein.
this is the Google route to make the most epic road trip you can do around America.
That's it?
That's it.
I would do that.
Yeah,
bro.
that was
Dude,
awesome.
it goes through all the
Jake,
best.
we're leaving next week.
Well, what were the parameters of
Jake
this?
doesn't
We're
hesitate.
not even in the road trip. Look
No.
at it. They
No,
go
we're
down to Florida and then they cut across before they come to South
Yeah,
Florida.
we'd have to fly to Orlando to start the trip.
I mean,
Right,
but
Kelly.
it's hitting big things, like Disney and this and that, just to
Yeah.
have an awesome time. I don't know. The next map that I brought is number of major sports teams by state. All right.
Texas, holy crap.
And it's California, Texas, and Florida have the most teams by state. Let's go to the next map. If you were thinking about the Roman Empire, this is the Roman Empire top of America.
You were up late last night, dude.
I know. I
You're a
love
f-
maps. Okay, let's go to the
love
next one.
Yeah.
Seatbelt laws. There's only one state. All right, Brandon, guess the state.
The what? That there's no seatbelts?
Yeah.
That's
New
New Hampshire.
Yep.
You don't have to
Live
have
free or
seatbelt?
die.
Yeah, live
That's
free-
their on their
Live-
license
Oh,
plate. Is
wow.
literally live free or
Die.
die.
Live free or you're gonna
But
die.
they're liberal somehow.
I don't know. But if you don't want to wear a seatbelt, you know where to go. So that's my segment on maps.
Humberto, thank you for keeping it light because every time
Every time.
everybody's always like
I do it on
death,
purpose now.
child, sexual assault, everything. Justin Trudeau being a weirdo, and then it's maps.
Seatbelts.
Seatbelts. I respect it. All right,
Maps and
Rob.
seatbelts.
We're gonna interrupt you because Rob was actually watching porn as we speak. Look at Rob on this.
I was
computer.
downloading. Well, I had to use VPN because Pornhub no longer
Yeah.
allowed in the state of Florida.
Okay.
How you doing?
Whoa. Is that true?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, you know when I found out?
When you
When you went
Literally
home.
January 1st. I was like, well, my wife's out of town. Let me go to the computer. And then so I had to go to X Hamster. And then X Hamster, you have to use.
X-Hamster?
Yeah, it's not involving animals. Let me be
Rob,
clear about
what
that.
the hell
It's
is
just a
that?
website. But guess what? Now you have to upload your ID in order to be able to look at nudies.
Come on.
Yeah, you
In
do
Florida,
it.
you can go to a gun show and buy a gun without an ID. But if you want to
Or
see
both.
titties, show your ID.
Don't
That's
tell me.
nuts.
Don't tell me you upload your ID to go on a porn website.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because you would think that would make you not want it, but it actually made me want it more. I'm like, no, I've earned this.
You're a naughty boy.
You had such a promising political
we got-
future.
I'm sorry, hold on. This is all jokes because there's douchebags in the chat that complain that I'm disrespectful to my wife. Well, guess what? If my wife would touch it once in a while, I wouldn't have.
All right, guys. By the way, that's all my fault because I was joking about the porn and we just went here. Rob's story is
Yes.
about the 15-minute cities in New York, the congestion, toll. Rob, as a New Yorker,
I think it's a gateway to the 15-minute cities. So, Vinny, you are the only born New Yorker here. Do you know what is below 60th Street in Manhattan?
what's below it?
South of 60th Street in Manhattan. Did you know that it encompasses all of Manhattan? You can it's the
can't
Upper
go-
West Side, the Upper East Side, Midtown, Hell's Kitchen, Flatiron District, Chelsea, the Greenwich Village, East Village, Soho, Chinatown, and the Financial District.
So to get to there, you have to go through this congestion toll.
Correct. They have now created a congestion toll. Now, luckily for you New Yorkers, originally it was going to be $15, but thank you to Kathy Hochul, and we'll hear from her in just a second. It's now only $9 during peak hours to travel below 60th Street in New York, which means if you go to New York and you want to go to Central Park, Columbus Circle, the Broadway Theater District, Empire State Building, Times Square, Madison Square Garden, Hudson Valley, my favorite, the World Trade Center and the 9/11 Museum, or Battery Park, you have to pay $9. If you're in a taxi, the taxi now has to pay 75 cents, which is okay, fine. Lyfts have to pay $1.50. Buses and trucks are going to have to pay $14.40
Every
in
time-
New York,
every
every time you go through the toll.
What street is Harlem on? Harlem's in like the 120s, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. I
it's above
literally
100.
looked.
It's above
I didn't look up maps. I should have asked Humberto.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm saying-
Humberto,
I'm
you
gonna-
should have
brought up
run
maps.
streets.
I'm going to throw out the accusation because it's what they would do. This is racist.
Big time.
If it is going to disparately impact certain demographics who
It
live
is.
above a
It's
certain
such a racist-
and it's unfair to people who can't afford it.
Oh, and I talked to Kelly about this. You know what this is going to force? People to take the train. And you know what happens in the
that's
train
great.
in New York? Rob,
You get lit on fire.
you get burned alive and stabbed and shot. And if you protect somebody, you go to jail. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
Well, so the funds are designated. What they're trying to do is they're trying to save money for the MTA, the Metropolitan Transit Authority.
Oh, yeah.
They anticipate that it'll reduce 80,000 vehicles from entering the city daily, leading to decreased traffic, improved air quality, and faster emergency response times. The MTA plans to raise the tolls. This is great because here's Kathy Hochul where she's bragging about getting them lowered. But in 2028, they're going to raise the toll another $3 to $12. And then in 2031, if the world still exists
Here,
we're going to have $15 tolls back to the original price that they wanted, where Kathy Hochul right here is bragging about having reduced.
So I made the decision to put the congestion pricing program on pause while we devise a different path forward. State law requires that congestion pricing simultaneously raise money for the MTA and drive down traffic congestion.
Even the sign language guy's pissed.
These are important priorities.
This is a sign
But I
language.
believe that no New Yorker should have to pay a penny more than absolutely necessary to achieve these goals.
A penny more than necessary
and
is nothing.
$15 was
Look at
too
this-
much.
Look at the sign language
I'm proud to
guy.
announce
He's
we
gonna have
found a path to fund the MTA, reduce congestion, and keep millions of dollars in the pockets of our commuters. Under this plan, the MTA will implement a congestion pricing plan with a reduced daytime toll of $9 beginning in January.
We could cut it there. A reduced daytime toll. A reduced from something that didn't exist. There's no reduction there. It's an increase from $0 to $9. You're sitting here bragging about there being a reduction, but then you're going to jack the cost up to $15 per car in 2031.
Bro, the silent, and I'm sorry, 'cause Jake said the sign language guy looked like he was doing paper origami with no paper. Even he was like, what?
Do you remember there
What
was
are you crazy?
Do you remember the story of the woman that was the fake?
Yeah.
So she was faking, making things.
I
and
knew
we
it.
believed
was for
And the one black guy, too, he was
it
like-
it was for oh man,
knew
what
it.
concert was it? It was Beyonce. It was Beyonce at the Super Bowl. She was just dancing. Hey,
oh
you know
my
what? You know
God.
what New Yorkers are gonna do about this?
What?
I'm walking here.
Well, I saw a Hasidic Jew on a scooter on the freaking bridge, on the Brooklyn Bridge. And they're like, what was
No,
it?
it was a meme. I forget who posted it. It said $9 to cross the bridge. F that. No, I was gonna say like logically, it still doesn't make sense because the ticket would be more than $9, so that has to factor into
Yeah.
the play. Does everybody hate Kathy Hochul as much
She
as
is,
I
just
do?
Yeah.
she is
She
one
turns
of
my
them.
stomach.
She's one of them. She's one of them. And you guys all know what, like, just a discuss. Her, like, Gretchen Whitmer and her, they came out of the same shit factory.
Well, but they look like younger iterations of Hillary Clinton. They have the same demeanor, they have the same inflection when they speak, and they make me want to puke in the same way.
And Rob, I
Almost
hate to cut
like
you off.
they're
I'm
reptilians.
telling you guys, and we've said this how many times on this podcast, conservative women bury liberal, disgusting, they're just bitter. Like, look at Nancy Pelosi, that's your future. If you're a liberal Democrat, it's just like the earth and this gravity is gonna make you into a freaking piece of coal.
Well, her husband's banging dudes, so think about how bad she must be.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
By the way, one of my favorite parts of what Kathy Hochul said is that it's going to help response times for first responders, for emergency responders. But the FDNY does not agree. This is from the New York Post. This came out the day after, or the day before a few days after the toll went into effect. FDNY unions say congestion toll will hurt response times. Here's what they're saying. To avoid the tolls, many firefighters will opt to not drive their personal vehicles to work. What does that mean? It's going to hinder their ability to respond promptly to emergencies outside their assigned zones. So, like, if you're a firefighter and there's a fire in a zone that's not yours, but you're already in the city, you're in your own personal vehicle, some firefighters will go and help respond.
Yeah.
Now they're saying they're not going to be able to because they don't have their personal vehicles. Also, without their personal vehicles, firefighters may now need to use mass transit, carrying their 85-pound gear onto the bus
Oh my
to respond
God.
to fires throughohout the city.
That's insane.
May I ask you, why did they have the picture of Luigi Mangione in the header of
Yeah.
that article? Was
It
that a
video,
warning?
And they screen grabbed it. I don't know.
Oh, you better rescind that.
he has to pay too.
Could be the difference between life and death, and it's just his face.
No,
like this.
it's probably a video that was playing, and that was like an unrelated news item.
That
but
is so
that's
funny.
Can we
Life
go
and
to the next video, though? Because the next video is the FDNY, where they're like, Kathy Hochul's full of shit. This is going to hurt us.
This is a sad day for public safety for the New York City Fire Department.
Boy.
I love that.
We have a very unique situation in which our members have utilized their vehicles in the past to transport their gear to arrive prior to the start of the tour, so there is no break-in service. It allows not only better management, but better continuity. Unfortunately, we're now telling those same members not to bring their car into the business district. We're actually incurring a larger cost on one civil servant over another. So in response to that, the members have chose not to take their vehicle in. They've chose to take public transportation. Unfortunately, now their personal vehicles, which once backfilled the staffing needs of the department, are no longer available. Giving less than only 30 days notice from the time of this implementation, we can obviously see that the department did not have the ability to purchase vans to increase staffing in order to meet this need. And with over 200 details per day, that's a lot of transportation in and out of the city. While you may not see the immediate impact on a day like today, on the first day of congestion pricing, where people have already chosen to stay out of the business district, what you will see on the days to come, especially with snow pending tomorrow, moving those 30 people in and around the business district will be a near impossibility. What's the safety impact of that? Keeping firefighters on the rigs for greater than 24 hours. Using, constantly changing the riding positions of members. Constantly changing the riding list to account for members in a dangerous situation. That keeping members on duty longer keeps them exposed longer, keeps them more likely to get injured the longer they're on duty. By the same token, as we asked for the department to provide lockers for every one of these covering offices, so when they come in by public transportation, that they will have a place to store their gear. So when they arrive at their work location, they can be picked up by the department. Because they've told us that the cars are not welcome in the district. And if they would like to bring it to aid the department, it should cost them another $9.
There's an easy fix to that problem. They're going to start issuing permits, and so if you are an essential worker, you'll get a permit. You go through without it. And so what it's going to be is everybody who's a political elite or a special protected class will get a permit, and every citizen is just going to have to pay.
That's screwed. But this is just another thing, bro. Like, can you name one thing that's happened positive about New York? Meaning from their leadership. What has gone right, bro? It's Gotham City, and with a problem like this, didn't you think ahead?
I really can't think of a single thing. That's really weird.
Think of one.
10, 20 years
10,
now.
I'm giving you guys 4 years. Just the from Adams to the migrants to this dumbass to all the decisions. You don't think ahead. Yeah, it sounds good. There's less congestion and less going green, but the people know. You don't think about the fire department. You don't like. This is just a bad policy that you're not asking. Who the hell's in your team?
It's also ironic. Like, you're talking about bad city management and the consequences that it has as LA burns now because of bad city management, not proper resources, like bad urban design. And now they're going to say, okay, we'll make it harder for first responders. But it has an easy fix, that particular issue. But no, I can think of everything that's gone wrong in New York over the last 5 years.
Oh my God!
And
you have to think that they're intentionally doing it though. Like I can't help but think that they're trying to like make people leave the place for whatever reason. But I don't think they're trying to make it better.
Or confine them to the place that they're at, which is what I want to get to. So you talked about one shithole. Let's go to another shithole. Could tolls be imposed in Chicago? As New York City, in New York City, in hopes of alleviating traffic congestion. So, according to CBS News, now Chicago is considering also implementing congestion pricing to help alleviate with the traffic problem in that city. But there's already a city that's moving towards what we call 15-minute cities. I'm assuming you guys have all heard of 15-minute cities.
Yes.
Correct? So the idea is that everything is within a 15-minute walk, which eliminates the need for cars, public transportation, buses. Everything can be a walk, bike ride, or skateboard away. Cleveland is currently in the process of adopting a 15-minute city. They're actively pursuing the development of their first and the nation's first 15-minute city. Introduced in July of 2023, the proposal focuses on promoting transportation choices beyond automobiles. Here's a news story from the local news in Cleveland discussing the 15-minute city proposal and where they're at.
Mayor Bibb introduced the idea of being the first 15-minute city in the United States. He did this in his State of the City address last night.
The urban planning model is new, but city planners told our Sarah Shookman the time is now to tap into federal dollars to address some of Cleveland's deeper problems. Imagine a Cleveland where everything you need is less than 15 minutes away.
It's this ideal planning framework where human needs and desires are accessible within a 15-minute walk, bicycle ride, or transit trip. And that's really what we're striving for in this new planning model.
That's the mayor?
City planner Matt Moss says it doesn't have to be a dream.
And
Instead of a
hipster.
concrete jungle where people work and separate places where people live, in a 15-minute city, everything is closer.
And it's starting out with the city we have now, and then asking residents how they might want their community to grow or change in ways that, again, make things more accessible or provide them with more opportunities to access the things they want to get to.
They're talking about outdoor prisons.
Yep, perfect. That's exactly what you're saying. Outdoor, open air prisons, almost like Palestine. Just kidding. I don't want to get political.
Yeah. Oh, too late now, Rob.
I'm just kidding. These are jokes. But these are all also in effect in the United Kingdom. So they're starting here in Cleveland, but they're already in effect in the United Kingdom. According to Yahoo News, they have one in Oxford that they're introducing, Canterbury, and Ipswich. Here's a video of a woman explaining the problem and that 15-minute cities could create for free-loving individuals who love freedom, and Trump, and French fries. You can hit this.
I love French fries.
It's down here and say more or less what other people are going to say about the effect of these 15-minute neighborhoods, soon to become digital ID facial recognition zones. Let's say my friend lives in Zone 3 and I'm in Zone 1. If, for example, I went to my friend's house in Zone 3, my parents normally come and pick me up in their car. It only takes 10 minutes. So does that mean that they would have to go round the ring road and back into town again? If my mum or dad had to drive round the ring road, it would take 30 minutes, causing much more pollution and leaving a much bigger carbon footprint. They will say, you can walk home. Would that be safe for me to walk home?
Not in
Me
England.
as a 12-year-old.
The grooming gangs.
Not with the grooming gangs.
Is that really going to be safe? Then they
That
will
lady
say,
on the face,
oh,
on the
don't
right's
worry
face
about
is
that.
hilarious.
We've already thought of that. You'll be safe. We will have 1,000 cameras on the streets following you and tracking you all the way home.
This kid's
and
what
just
Greta
remember,
Thunberg should
it's for
be.
your safety.
I love that. You can pause it there.
I love that.
Was
kid.
she eating
you
chocolate
guys-
ice cream or something? She looked like she had a little joke or
Oh,
smile.
I don't know. But listen, if you can't get people to willingly go with something, and there has been pushback for 15-minute cities, then what's the only way that you can get them to comply with force? And how are they forcing people to comply? By making them pay a toll in order to leave that part of town to go to another part of town. So my question for you guys is, do you guys think that the $9 congestion toll in New York is just the start of them implementing these 15-minute cities without calling them 15-minute cities? Instead of restricting your freedoms, they're actually saving the environment and saving you the effort of not having to sit in traffic by charging these ridiculous sums of fees to get to another part of town.
Let's talk a little bit about history, all right? You have the Greater London, all right? And you have the City of London that is inside of the Greater London. What is inside the City of London? That's a financial district, all right? Even the Queen or the King right now of England, before they enter the City of London, they need to ask for permission of the mayor of the City of London, all right? So what they're doing here is pricing people out, all right? In Manhattan, maybe we don't have a king or a queen. They've been pricing real estate so high that it forces most of the people to have to live outside in places even like Jersey. You know, they move to Jersey and people around, and then they can't take their cars in the city. So the financial districts are pricing people out so they can run their fancy restaurants where they trick you, where they're serving you at the table.
Of course.
They're their premium, I don't know, blood banks and whatever. So that's what they're doing. You know?
banks.
Yeah, because they're all Satanists that drink
Yes.
blood every day.
Yes.
It's a twofold. It's a two-pronged thing. Like, they want the money. It's a money grab, and they also want to get everybody used to the idea of having your mobility restricted. There was a story, I had to double-check my memory, out of Quebec, an island called Île-la-Madeleine off of the coast of Quebec, where they want to impose a tourist tax. And then the locals were like, well, what if we want to leave and not pay this tourist tax every time we ferry back to the mainland? And they say, oh, don't worry. You'll just show a QR code so that you'll be exempt from paying the tourist tax whenever you want to leave. And then they're like, aren't you just using us like sort of guinea pigs to create something of a 15-minute city?
Yeah, of course.
And they say, yep, we're using like goodbye is what they say in French.
That's happening in America. Anyone pre-check here?
You know, I have TSA. I have what's the other one?
TSA pre-check.
Clear. No, I have TSA. I have TSA.
All right,
You
you're
got
in
my
a
number.
data bank.
Nexus is the other
It's
one.
exactly the same thing. You're in a federal database.
But I save 20 minutes every time. Poor brother.
Anyone that is willing to give away liberty for, I don't know, you know,
Liberty
that's
for
called-
Liberty for security will have
convenience.
neither.
That's what it is.
Rob, I think anything. I don't trust the government at all. it's no secret to everybody that's watching. I don't trust them at all. I worked for them for almost 6 years in the Air Force. I don't trust them at all. It's one of the reasons why I got out. I think this is, Rob, they always go here, then they pull back, and then they get, all this stuff gets done. This is just another way of them control. Sooner or later, Rob, it'll be a 15-minute city.
Well, it might reduce, in Chicago, it might reduce the crime rate. Because if you have to pay $9 every time you want to go kill somebody in another district, you'll stay in your own district.
Well, you know what's crazy, though? In Chicago, I'm interested to see how long that thing's going to stay up there before people start shooting it and breaking it and running suicide drones inside of it.
Scrapping it for metal.
Oh,
shit.
for sure.
But no, I think they create the problem a lot of the time to give you the solution. Like they're letting all this descend into chaos so they can say, hey, let's do this and we'll fix it. So, the 15-minute stay wouldn't be necessary without the crime and all the stuff they're causing.
Yeah, I agree. What do you? I think it's happening, Rob. I think this is the first step for.
Well, I think your program and what you just read about the QR code is exactly what they want to do here, where it's if you want to take the toll, hey, you can get an Easy Pass and put it in your car and scan in your car, so we can always see where you're going.
Where you are.
Or you can pay an upcharge to pay it by cash. Or we'll bill you, we'll toll by plate invoice you. At this point, they're always watching you, but now they're just making it so you can't even go places. So when you say it's like an open air prison, that's what it feels like. It feels like this is just the first step in getting us to the next step without us revolting and saying, no, we don't want to be in a 15-minute city. Because some of the concerns when it comes to 15-minute cities, and I'll read you off real quick, because I put in, okay, if 15-minute cities, it says conspiracy theories, right? That's what they say. So I wanted to know what the theories were. Lockdown cities, surveillance state, Agenda 21 and the globalist takeover, forced urbanization, economic inequality, which is what you talked about, and gentrification, digital currency and travel credits, climate change as an excuse, a social credit system, banning vehicles, and eventually the end goal, possibly eugenics and population control. But like 4 of these are right so far when it comes to the 15-minute cities and these tolls.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm looking over at Rob's computer. They do require ID for Pornhub in Florida.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And the fact that he didn't stop once you expose him. But
That's right.
All right, guys. Great freaking show. Great stories. Guys, I can't express how much I appreciate all of you guys. And for watching. The channel is freaking growing. Like Brandon's passed us up, but we're gonna get you. If you guys have a second, please subscribe to the channel right now, really quick. And also, guys, we shot a sketch on Valuetainment Comedy. It's Kelly's in it. I'm
Great
in
actress.
it. Huh?
Amazing.
Daniel's in it, guys. The acting in the sketch, I get robbed live. This news reporter gets robbed live, and it's hilarious. Kelly did a freaking fantastic job. Humberto, let's remember to put the description in the chat, in the link. It's going to be off the chain. Guys, I love you guys. God bless you. Take care of each other. And we will see you guys on Friday. Peace and love.
Auf Wiedersehen.
8 o'clock tonight.